I would like to please call upon my fellow panelists, starting from Kriti Baijal from L&T Hydrocarbon, Abhishek Jain from Reliance Foundation. I would have said a lot more about Kriti and Abhishek, but it's just that I'm not carrying that card. So I'm going to also take the advantage and request Kriti and Abhishek to introduce themselves later on. May I please call upon Sahista Iqbal? I know she's there. Sahista is from GlaxoSmithKline, GSK. Santosh Phad from Thinksharp Foundation. So see, we are a mix of non-profits and corporates out here. We would need to draw in a lot of energy from all of you sitting there because we have not prepared. Can we please take our seats? Okay, our topic is future of volunteering. I've been in the volunteering different organizations for the past 15 odd years. And even before CSR Act came into the place, I have seen, basically I have been a volunteer myself. That's how it all began. And, we used to go to different schools, we used to teach, we used to come back. I was also an NSS volunteer. So there are a lot of conversations which have happened here. And I can just pick up from there. One of the things that's come out most recently is also on how future of volunteering cannot be dependent on input of the volunteering. So often we measure the impact using hours, but that's just input. And when we talk about future of volunteering, I think we need to move from that sort of space. And that is what we would like to kind of hear from all of you. But before we move forward, I'll kindly request Kriti to please introduce herself. I will not come down, Kriti.
So, I don't know how to introduce after you said, you should not just put it out there like, just a designation. So I will not use that. I have been a very ground level person. I always wanted to go to the ground and work. And coming from a social work background, I have been on the ground for a lot of time, and I would like to stick to that. I try to put in that kind of energy to my kids, to my family around, and so I think that's about it. And I like to try to connect with people on and off, And I was just wanting to ask you a question: why only Gen Zs के साथ coffee, हमारे साथ क्यों नहीं भाई? So yeah, I mean, the more we connect, the more better we can, develop. And mental health के लिए तो बहुत ज़रूरी ही है. तो अपना mental health रखना है तो करना पड़ेगा. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Kriti. Thanks for that lovely introduction. Abhishek, requesting you to please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Neha. So, if I can draw the cue, not naming our titles, so I can say I'm a volunteer. I'm still a volunteer. I started volunteering roughly about 18 years ago, while I was working in Chennai, and that's where I met Doc, by the way. Doc, I don't know if you remember or not, but in their first such ceremony which they'd organized in Chennai, I was there. So my journey started in 2008 as volunteer. I was in Chennai. I didn't know Tamil. I didn't know any language, but I used to volunteer at the school. So I used to do everything except for teaching, even though I am a teacher in that sense. Now, I used to be called professor in my college. So, but then I was so drawn to the cause that, I wanted to so deeply be connected with the cause of volunteering that I used to do everything except teaching, whether it is organizing things and things like that, right? So then I was still an IT professional. I was into IT consultancy back then. And then soon, 2011, 2014, in fact, I decided to move from IT, the software development career, to an volunteer enablement career. So within my same organization I was working with, I got an opportunity to experiment this. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to really be doing something for the country. So I didn't know where to start. So, but this was, since I had been doing volunteering for quite some time, the leadership at the time was open to have me as a full-time volunteering person, if I can say so. So that's how we started in 2014. Now, and until 2022, I was with Cognizant, working as a volunteer enabler there. And now since 2022, I've been with Reliance and working towards building a culture of volunteering here in Mumbai, that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. Sahista?
So thank you so much, and I think it was a good challenge for us also to introduce ourselves differently. So thank you, Nirmala, for that. And my name is Sahista Iqbal. I represent an organization that helps you to heal. But as a self-introduction, I have been assisting and working with the communities to flourish. I think that's a better word than happiness. So taking cues from that. And my journey began almost 13 years back, where the idea was meet more people, greet more people. Thought from there to kind of have a career in that space. And I think was lucky enough to kind of enter a space where I was able to contribute to the community. So I think that's a little about me. But I think, it's an interesting, and thank you, Neha, and I think the organizers for inviting. It's been a learning journey for me, at least from the time I have attended it. So I think, thank you so much, I think.
Thank you, Sahista. Santosh.
Okay, sorry, but I'll use my title because I love my title, honestly. Being a sales executive, door-to-door sales 10 years back, and from founding our own organization, so that's why I love my title. Thank you, first of all, for having me here. So I represent an organization called Thinksharp Foundation, which work across Maharashtra in education and a few more domains. And it's great experience so far. So in last almost 12 years in this field, from corporate to social sector, lot of ups and downs, but yes, I'm enjoying the way I am doing the work. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introductions, all of you. So the reason why I requested everyone to introduce themselves is also because this is how the future of volunteering looks like to me. I think we are all moving away from our titles. We are all really getting into volunteering space. We are all trying to create something which is little more than, a couple of hours contribution. While that's extremely important, all my co-panelists, they have actually, been volunteers in the past, and this is where, this is what we are doing right now. So taking on from that cue, I want to ask Abhishek. Abhishek, when we started this conversation, I was talking about how people are moving from, hours, metrics, to more about what's getting done in the community, what can create more difference, not just for the communities, but also for volunteers. Having served with Cognizant volunteers for a number of years, having been a volunteer yourself, now you're leading this at Reliance. I'd love to understand how are you looking at it, and what is something which stands out in your programmatic approaches or the way you, work with your volunteers.
Sure. Thank you, Neha, for the question. I think let me throw out some numbers in front of you, in terms of what future of volunteering looks like, right? I was reading a report from Bain & Company and Dasra, where they say that in India, at this moment, the social sector spending is about $300 billion, okay? Of which about 95% is spent by the government, and about 5% is about $15 to $16 billion is spent by the private philanthropy. But the staggering fact is that still there is a gap of about $200 billion which is unfulfilled, which needs to be put in for India to even think about becoming Viksit or any other things like that. So where is this fund coming from, or where is this coming from, right? I mean, so I think I truly believe this is that all of us sitting here, volunteering can be one of the most important catalysts in this endeavor of India dreaming about becoming a Viksit Bharat. So that's about, I think future is bright, if I can say so that way, right? It is needed. Now what we are trying to do, right? I mean, I like to speak about a specific project which we are attempting and trying to do in Reliance. We are calling this as Rooted. Okay, and it started with the idea of Reliance. Of course, when we talk about it's a conglomerate. There are multiple different skills, different people, and spread across this almost length and breadth of the country. We asked them that what is the most important or critical impediment in your volunteering journey? What is that stops you from volunteering? We asked people that one question. And the most important thing which came out was distance. That distance stops me from volunteering, right? And Nirmala, you spoke about consistency. I think and I truly believe that, I completely agree with you that, consistency is the bedrock of volunteering, right? When you volunteer consistently with the same set of beneficiaries, that rapport gets built, that they start recognizing you. I mean, it's wonderful to see when the volunteers go to the schools and say, hey, call a child by his or her name, or the children call back with the volunteer's name. I think that's where the shift starts happening. So with that thought process, we said, okay, what can we do? So we asked our volunteers about this. They said distance is the biggest issue. Then we said, why not we start volunteering in our neighborhood only? Why not we start doing something there where identify opportunities which are, let's say, less than half an hour of your distance from wherever you are, right? So we asked our volunteers to start identifying schools, old age homes, anything wherever they think they can, easily go and contribute in some sense. So we started calling these people as volunteer champions, right? These are the people who are stationed in our office, and then they are going and continuing, willing to drive volunteering in their respective spaces. Then, what foundation does? Foundation is more or less becoming a support system. We are not becoming that as a corporate, I would say. Corporate is not driving it, right? It is more of a support. It's creating an environment of volunteers to go and continue to volunteer on a regular basis. So once distance is taken care of, volunteer champions go to the school and they say that, okay, this is what we offer, whether you are willing to work with us or not. And so that's something which we piloted here in Mumbai, and we were able to see great response for that. And then since then, just in the last 1.5 years actually, there are more than 250 schools which have been identified by our volunteers in 150 cities across the country, right? And they are regularly volunteering, right? We are actually talking, again, when I say I'll try to refine the term as volunteering as regularly, because we want to start small. So what we said, let's not talk about weekly volunteering, right? Let's just put a frequency which is reasonable, right? We start with once in a quarter, okay? And that is something which is happening, right? So rather than thinking about, I started with that, by the way, that we'll have once in a week. That's not going to happen in a corporate life very soon. So if you have to scale it up. So what we are doing here is that in these schools, our volunteers are going at least once in a quarter, at least, and doing something which the school is saying that I cannot do. What are the kind of things? Taking a session of digital safety, taking sessions on fire safety, for example, taking session on AI, taking session on, we were talking about AI, right? Right opposite our office, in Kansoli, there is a school which has about 4,500 children, right? There are almost 80 teachers in that school. Tell me how many of those children would know how many of those teachers would know how to use Excel? Any guesses? 8? Okay. Any number? Any other numbers? Excel. I'm just talking about Excel. I'm not talking about AI here. Excel. Huh? 50%. Okay. 20%. One. All right. Entire schools, all administrative work, this poor guy is doing, and the school is suffering. Right? We are talking about AI here, and this is the situation in the financial capital of the country. In a very prominent area and as such. So these are the things which come up to us when we lead, when we enable our volunteer champions to discuss these solutions, these problems with them, and then we try to solve those problems. So that's about, if I can say so, that how do volunteering looks like going forward is consistency near in your neighborhood on a regular basis, and enabled by a corporate like us that way. Yeah, thank you.
Super. Abhishek, I have a follow-up question. Given that, you are also at the group level, you are able to draw into a lot more participation. I want to ask you from that lens. There are certain things which are happening, but have a lot of corporates or a lot of organization, do you also see going towards making very clear policies about volunteering? Because, and I'm asking you this question from the lens that you have more visibility given that you're working at that group level. I'd love to find out that.
Yeah, I think it's as far as policy is concerned, we do not have a policy as of now. So, I don't know whether I'm the right person to speak, but there are, it really helps, by the way. If there is a policy, it definitely helps because within the group, we are trying to, build that consensus. And one of the group companies has adopted a policy. At a group level, we do not have it, but within one of the group companies has created a policy. It all depends upon the management. It all depends upon which phase of the growth the company is, and things like that. So, yeah, I think it really helps that one company which has adopted it. I think there is very good response coming from the volunteers. But yeah, I think it's still work in progress. If I can, I'm not sure whether I answered your question or not. But yeah, but still, yeah.
I think what we wanted to really understand is whether policy making is getting adopted by more and more corporates as the future of volunteering going forward. I think that was the distinction that we wanted to make. But you have pretty much answered. I know that's going to happen in the future, so I'm just going to take a pause there.
Yeah.
I'm going to move to Kriti. Okay, Kriti, given that you are coming from the ground level, you just mentioned that you used to do a lot of volunteering yourself and you are very passionate about things happening at the ground level. I would like to understand and ask you how you think, and we have been talking about Gen Z, right? And there is a lot of Gen Z audience here. So I'd love to understand how does Gen Z within the corporate setup is looking like for you? Because that's also the future of volunteering. Some of these people have seen volunteers come to them. They have grown to make their careers and now have taken up volunteering. And how does that play for you at your organization? Do you see a lot of interest? Do you see that longer term engagement is happening well? They are happy to go out, they are happy to move out. What's the trend that you're seeing right now and what do you envision in future?
Thanks, Neha. Thank you for that question. So at L&T, we have a lot of graduate engineer trainees. We call them lovingly GTs coming to us. And every year we have like hordes of not less than 500, 600 GTs coming in. I'm talking about just one IC where I'm working. I'm not talking at the group level also. Group level, it'll be more. So 3 years back, actually, it started. So right after COVID, we were never, when we onboard the GTs or when we onboard these youngsters, we used to just have, presentations after presentations after presentations after presentations and, just sitting in the office and, they're just fresh out of college and you are just giving them that. So 3 years back, we, wanted to change that and it went very well with our seniors. I said, okay, fine, you are doing, we have to give them, we have to onboard them, we have to talk to them at different levels. But can we give them something practical? they are just fresh out of college, it's too much information to, rely on. So we started onboarding for CSR by doing a hands-on activity. Imagine 500, 600 people. You have to manage them, and you cannot do it within the office, in the room. You have to take them out. So that started. And we are very happy to say that in 3 years, we have seen so much of, interest. And most of the time, in fact, the senior says that बाकी लोग क्यों नहीं volunteer कर रहे हैं, केवल GTs क्यों दिख रहे हैं? मैं कहा सर आप ठीक से onboard करेंगे तो सब कोई करेगा. So that is the way. And I have seen especially people coming from, outside Bombay, who don't know Bombay, would like to, volunteer for kids, for picnics. So they also get to know places and they get excited. They want to have fun. They want to, go out, understand Bombay, how it is. So it really helps us, give them that. In fact, recently we have started, asking these youngsters, who have been 6 months or older in our organizations, to why don't you find a passionate activity, you drive that, and we will broadcast it, like Nirav, join Nirav's campaign to help children, join Sheetal's campaign to, bring out books, notebooks. So those are the things that we are trying to work on, and we have had very few, I would not say many, coming up for this kind of a campaign, because it is showcased on a different level. But this is something we are working on, and I'm really hopeful that it will happen. So we are really excited about that. And Gen Zs do take a lot of interest. But getting them early mornings is a bit difficult. Yes. So yeah, my Kritika also bailed out today.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from two of you, and I will get on the same to Sahista now, but what I'm hearing from both of you is also a lot of champion network movement. And it's not just Kriti and Abhishek driving volunteering in their organizations, but it's being led by a lot of future change makers.
See, what happens is when you are, in an organization, volunteering team or a CSR team are very lean. If you take on everything onto yourself, you're not really making that go towards, or a bigger picture. So you need to take those kind of people to, own the thing. They have to own it.
Got it. So, on the same note, Sahista, I have a little different question from you. We have talked about future change maker and, a champion network. Where you work, I think you have a lot of on-the-ground army anyway, really busy with the kind of work that they do, right? And I know that pharmaceutical sales rep, and that's going to be the major crowd for you, I understand. How are you battling that challenge where you are able to engage these people into meaningful engagements, and by that, able to create something which is worthwhile going forward?
So thank you so much, I think, Neha, for that question. And I think there are a few points that I would like to kind of add upon Abhishek and Kriti they have added. But I think first addressing to your question, yes, I think almost 70% of our entire headcount is the medical reps. And getting them to kind of participate is one of the reasons, because they are all widespread and they are thin spread. Some of the headquarters are so remote that, it's difficult, or they are just very few in number. Conducting a collective action kind of an activity is literally not possible, because it does not really meet the per capita or the per employee cost. So, considering that, what we do is there are two folds to it. Majorly in the areas that we try to club the closer, headquarters together, so that there is still a bigger pool, and we kind of do activities there. Very recently, what we are also coming up with is, I think, moving towards more virtual pieces. The medical reps being all the time on the field, and that could be something where they can contribute by walk, by run, by cycle, right? So they are commuting at multiple times. Why not link that to a social cause? Any time they are there on the field. So that is something that we have just about to start. I would say it's still in the pipeline, but it's still about to start. And I think that gives all the people as a medical rep to be part of a cause or support a cause, rather than removing time, being physically present to contribute to a cause. Well, that we are not moving away from that, but always a hands-on activity is much better than how can you subtly contribute. But this is another way where they can contribute to a social cause. So I think that's one of the points. In terms of the policies, I think we do have a robust policy in place and in action, where every individual can contribute up to 8 hours if they are doing an ad hoc activity in a year. And if it is like a year-long activity and you are like doing a mentoring or a skilling kind of an effort, 4 days, that's 4 into 8, is what you are allowed to kind of go ahead and do a volunteering for. We call it as Together Days because it's something that aligns with our tagline of Ahead Together. So that's how the phase on how the policy really helps to kind of have our employees on board. But yes, policy alone does not serve the purpose. It's very difficult, not really the regional or the field people to get involved. It's difficult for people who are making these policies. That's the headquarters, the head office people to be really to be engaged and involved. There always has to be that curiosity hat to be worn all the time as to what new can you bring in or new ideas that you can bring in, which will help them to engage better. So I think that we are still addressing that. It's not completely addressed. But I think I go back with a lot of good ideas. So I think definitely there is an opportunity to address that curiosity piece. So yes, I think that's how we kind of engage with a lot of people. And coming to the point, just yesterday, we had the induction program for our Excel trainees, similar to the GETs. We took them to our factory. And we also have a lot of schools where we have supported with digital smart classrooms. And here what we did was we took these it was a batch of 12 students who are basically the Excel trainees with us. We took them to one of the schools and we gave them the orientation, and there were like beautiful insights that came out from there. So I think it's also about connecting, evolving as you move along. It's not just that you will hit everything at the first time, but I think yes, consistency is the key. The element is you keep bringing new things all the time, with a little bit of twist, with ensuring consistency. So I think that's about it.
Great. Thank you. Sahista, I love the idea where you spoke about how these people are always on the ground and you're going to club it
with the cause.
Yeah. So that's an excellent idea. I think we all can actually pick from there and then get in touch with you to ask how we can all kind of leverage on that. Would love to know more. But I'm going to ask Santosh, because I know Santosh has engaged volunteers very, very meaningfully. And given that he is already doing a lot of things, the first question that I'm going to ask him is, how do you think AI can help the 3 people who are sitting here? And why I'm asking you this question is because I know that you have a lot of model where pro bono and AI has really come into the picture and helping you.
Okay. So I will maybe not use AI as a term, but yes, technology. Okay, whatever in the form of the technology. See, we NGOs like corporates, they all are from the different side and I'm from the different side. They are always willing to give back and we want to always receive back from them. And the technology really helps NGOs in multiple ways. One is reducing our cost. Okay, just for an example, we have a couple of applications for directly for our beneficiaries and for our staff as well. If I go to the developer who would charge me in lakhs rupees, but if I go back to my donors and ask them, why don't your employees or staff engage and help us to build a technology? So that will solve up 2 problems. One, yes, the volunteers from the corporate will love to support because that's the core, the skill they have. And second is helping us to reduce the cost because it is pro bono. Okay. So yes, definitely we have multiple platforms with the help of technology who has help from the corporate volunteers and the individual volunteers. Sometimes volunteers probably they don't come from the same donor, the corporates, but they come from at the individual capacity, and that's how they are helping us in terms of building the various technology to address various gaps, to identify the beneficiary benefits and our employee benefits as well.
Got it. Santosh, I have one follow-up question from you. So, if I have to ask you on what would you like to get support from the volunteers going forward, rather than just teaching or, visiting, what is one ask that you would have? Like, how would you like to define it for the next two plus years?
Okay. So what challenge we face at ground, I'll tell you. Most of the time, corporate, it's not that it's bad, but it's one-time activities for many of them. And they have different challenges. It's not that they are willing to or purposely doing the one-time because business pressures, employee shift from one company to other company, internal, all their different challenges for all departments. And then what happens, sometimes corporate volunteer comes, conduct one session, and they disappear. Now, what we realize that if it's just a one session, students get engaged, but they are excited and curious to know or engage further more with the volunteers. And that's where we reach out to our corporate donors. Okay, we need volunteers who will be there with us for at least couple of months to engage our beneficiaries, students, month on month or at least once in a quarter. So we want same volunteers to be engaged with the students for at least couple of months or a year, so that we will have some outcome which we can measure, because that is most important. Just coming for the one session and giving a career guidance in a 1 hour will not solve the problem. Maybe just they can give the overview, but we need some measurable outcomes. Okay, they conducted 5 sessions and yes, here is some measurable outcome. That is what we see with outcome-based volunteering sessions or outcome-based volunteering activities from the corporate.
Great. Thank you for saying that, Santosh. Sahista, I have a question for you because I know you have a model where it's not measured just in hours, right? I would love to find out a little bit more about the mentorship that you were referring to, so that we can all also see and connect if that's something that we can adopt and learn from you.
So thanks, Neha. Well, basically, we link all of our volunteering programs. We try our level best to link it with our CSR projects. And one such CSR project that we kind of support is the scholarship program for the MBBS students. As part of this, definitely, I think from an academic perspective, MBBS students are, there are multiple soft skilling, or I would say the communication skills is what we try to kind of impart them. And every employee, and this is something that we have tried to engage little seniors at the top. So your leadership team -1. So that's the cohort that we kind of actually engage with, because we want the best going to the students who are actually studying. Herein, every individual or every mentor from our organization kind of gives in 4 to 6 hours in a span of 6 months, and here different topics. Now these are interest topics given by the mentee, who is the student, that I would like to learn ABC, and the mentor is kind of mapped accordingly to that. This helps to kind of have more consistent kind of an approach, and it's not just one-off, similar to what I think Santosh kind of mentioned. It's about a consistent way of having different modules that are taught. Each are individual modules, but that sums up into fulfilling the request that had come in by the mentee. And we have seen excellent results on that. And right now what we're trying to do is kind of make it into a full-fledged program, because we just completed the first cohort, wherein it was a 4.5 years of student experience that we provide scholarship to. So while we concluded that, what we try to do now is, as part of our CSR curriculum itself, so our CSR project will now be the scholarship plus the scholar development program, which is a entire journey of 4.5 years, the student will undergo different set of modules, and these are all feedback that have been intaked from all our students as to what are the different topics that you would like to touch upon. There will be webinars, there will be focus group discussions that we're trying to do. So it's much more streamlined, and we learned along the way. It's not the first time that we were able to do it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sahista. So I'm kind of just summing up right now. So there is Champion Network, there is technology-based longer format of volunteering and pro bono. I hear mentorship and CSR integration. Is there anything, Abhishek and Kriti, that you think is coming up really well and is going to enhance the experience of volunteers and also the, the community that they engage with?
So what you spoke about, CSR engaging. So 5 years back, I'd started doing that when we had, okay, we need to increase our volunteers. So with each project, we would say at least 2 events we must do and understand, so that the employees also get to know what kind of projects, CSR projects we are doing, not only one thing. People get very busy in the corporate world, and they really, and especially when we are also working on some of the Saturdays and full day Saturdays, and the policy also asks us to not use our working hours, but there is a drastic shift happening towards that. And just this year we launched our volunteering day, which has been commemorated as volunteering day, and it is, even if it comes on a weekday, we are going ahead with that. So that's amazing. And there are two parts to it. We always talk about long-term volunteering and a niche, like a short-term or a thing. I always believe that where long-term is good, all good for it, it's amazing and we must do it. But don't phase out any short-term volunteering, because that short-term volunteering gives you that spurt, that boost, that happiness, which really comes up, and which I have seen, in terms of, people who have not been able to do volunteering at all, but if they get a chance, they get into it, and they said, now I would like to do more. But you have to initially keep giving that spurts, keep giving that boost, just don't put thing onto them, ki nahi ye to aap aise hi karo. Don't give that. Another thing that we have started doing is like, getting hold of these, our groups, our teams, our departments, when they go out for their team bonding. So when they are going out for team bonding at the end of the year, 2 days in a year they give themselves, and we have a very beautiful campus at Lonavala where they usually go. Most of the time I've asked Bhumi only to help me, coordinate something out there, and they, put in, like, say for example, a finance department went there. I said, do something about the financial literacy. They'll create something beautiful, teaching, learning materials for the children. So it is something related to that thing, and that 1 hour or 2 hours is given to them. So we keep experimenting, whatever, it's always like that. And I'm glad to hear people saying that that we are on the right path. It's coming up.
If I can add just
Sure.
one important thing, which we spoke about ecosystems also, right? What is the ecosystem around us? As an individual, if we look at it, is not just the employees, right? Employees live in an ecosystem as well, and family members are a very, very important part of it, right? If you have a right support in the family, you can become a great volunteer, and like that, right? So what we are encouraging or trying to do here at Reliance is that encouraging the families to come together and volunteer as well. And I think in any initiative, we clearly call out that we invite your spouses, your children, even your grandparents or your parents to come and volunteer with you, because it's one thing to volunteer individually, but when you come as a family and volunteer, I think the entire family is filled with that joy. And I think we have seen, started to see rather, a lot of people who are consistently doing it. So we have volunteers who are bringing their spouses on a regular basis. Some of them are bringing the children on a regular basis. And I think all of them are trying to, I think this is really bringing the essence of the ecosystem, that, let's bring everybody. Let's not just be dependent on just one individual, but think of it as an entire 3 or 4 family members who can join in your volunteering programs as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. So I'm kind of just again summing up. So it's like booster injections for the Gen Z volunteers. Then we have family volunteering spaces, celebrations through volunteering. Okay. Santosh, would you like to add to this?
What we recently did with one corporate, I'll give you one example. Because we work with many schools in and around the cities. We asked corporate, why don't your employees reach out to their village school, okay, and adopt that school. I will not say word adopt, but engage with the school and come up with how we can transform that school. And it really worked fantastic. Each and every individual employee, they come up with their own ideas. Okay, I want to improve my village school in a particular way. Okay, and we picked up 2 to 3 schools, the best of the school which we can do, and we implemented our project there. Now those employees, not just one time, but continuously engaging with that village school, because he take that pride with him. Okay, this is my village school, and we transform that from my company's CSR funds. So something like that, we always think, okay, how we engage volunteers in a better way with the commitment and consistent. That solves 2 purposes for non-profits, because non-profits think in a different way. We want to have our corporates with us year on year, not just one time. And the volunteering is the best platform and opportunity which earlier we were missing, because we were only focusing on the funds. But now, gradually, with the experience what we have, we understood the power of volunteering is engaging your donor with the more volunteering opportunities to ensure that our funding with us year on year. Okay, sometimes it is a burden for us, honestly. For non-profits, probably, those who agree with me, because corporate come with some different mindset when they are on the ground, especially the employees. Okay, probably the CSR person, CSR head want to give the best of the best experience to their volunteers. The wonderful logistic, food and accommodation, whatever. Sometimes ground reality is very different. When they go to the villages, they have to face the challenges. कभी-कभी उनके मुंह थोड़े से आड़े-टेढ़े हो जाते हैं, हमें ऐसा मिला, वैसा मिला, ये हुआ, वो हुआ. But end of the day, they enjoy. They go with the good experience. So that's what we have the challenges, and we have the benefits as well from both the side. So yes, this is what my experience.
Thank you, Santosh. So I think a champion network is going to solve that challenge. The entire idea is, this is my thought, the entire idea of having a champion network is also to sensitize the next generation and the next set of leaders to encourage more and more volunteering with setting the right expectations, right? We used to face this long back, but often nowadays I don't think there is so much of challenge with volunteer management with respect to experience, because one of the things that we as organizers of volunteering activities is also to set the right expectations with the volunteers. Volunteering ka jo sabse bada, what is the intention of volunteering is to really make sure that volunteers go back having sensitized to what they are going to contribute to. So that's booster injection, right, Kriti? Okay, super. I have been shown that 10-minute wala picture, so I can't talk more, but we would love to take on some questions from the audience now. Anybody from anyone is welcome to ask questions.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing. The question I have is in the corporate side, right? You have the CSR committees and you have people deciding what happens. To tell us, honestly, Who is really responsible there? Do you get pushed from people in the senior management to adopt a particular program, a particular NGO? Does the CSR work independently? I'm talking generally, not about your organization, but what you understand about the ecosystem. Because NGOs are always struggling to find out, how do I get CSR funding? How do I, work with volunteers, right? And the corporate has their own verticals. We work with education, we work with plantation, we work with... what is your take on how do you guys decide which project to engage with and things like that in simple ways?
I mean, it depends upon what your volunteers can do. I think that's the first question, right? I mean, a lot of spoke about pro bono volunteering, right? Now, a lot of the retail employees which we have, right? You see, we are talking about people who are on the stores, right? They are, studied 12th, not more than 12th standard, right? To expect them to do a pro bono volunteering online digital teaching is not going to work. So what we are, so we have to cater to the different kind of a program for them, where we are talking about environment assistance. They can go and talk to the school about environment for that matter. So we are trying to do programs around that. So it boils down to that. It's very, very important to understand that what is that your volunteers can offer, right? That is what is the prominent determination factor. So I think by default, education becomes one, right? Most of the corporates, these are professionals. They are people who are good in education. So that's why education becomes a natural choice. That and there is access also. There are schools all around. There are so that's one thing. Same way environment as well. I think all of us feel naturally excited and responsible about environment. So that's what these are the two programs which come because of this very fact that what kind of audience we are dealing with that way. Yeah. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, because someone like me struggles to even approach you guys, because I'm looking at building a compassion muscle. I'm looking at years of work that India has to put in before any results are come. How do I even approach you guys, right? I'm talking about a real situation where, it's not education in its traditional sense. It's taking you through a program. It's looking at an output that may come in after a time. It's not about a sexy, hot thing that you take a photograph. I've given 50 laptops, right? So I'm coming from an honest situation that I face. How would you look at something like this, which is capacity building, long term? Nobody wants to touch what I'm doing, right, in a way.
I think answering to your question, one thing that I would request all the NGO partners who are present here is do a little bit of homework of every organization, because what happens is what resonates with an Abhishek organization or a Kriti organization will not resonate with me at times, okay? So I think a little bit of homework, and I think the good part about the regulation is that all your listed companies have their reports out every year in their annual reports. Read a bit about the kind of programs that they're running. Propose the kind of programs that will resonate or may coincide with the existing programs. And I think that will be a better hit, in terms of what will work and what not. Right now, on a daily basis, us as a corporate, it feels good, but we receive more than 10 such requests, okay? And it becomes really difficult for us to put it down. And many times there are multiple calls, but I really don't know what to answer to them, because I understand there is a need that exists. But how do we really address it is because we have limited funds. It's not something, there is really a lot of funds. We have limited funds. So I think approaching organizations where there is a resonance will help, and a little bit of homework will help.
So my question just to add. No, Santosh, go ahead. Because, we NGOs, non-profits, we have our design programs. And we design based on certain, reports, data available, or our own experience. What she said, that is what I was supposed to tell. the similar experience I had with one of my corporate, and we design a program which is very much resonate to what they are doing. So they are the garment manufacturing company, and we wanted to engage them with us. We designed a scholarship program for the fashion technology student, where the founder, the directors, and the employee can engage to mentor the students and give the scholarship as well. Though this program was not earlier part of our strategy, but we design a program in such a way that the corporates get more engaged. And this is the 4th year the partnership is happening. And from just one college, we expanded that program to at least 5 colleges across both Pune and Bombay city. That's what somewhere we have to also do our homework and ensure that how we engage with that corporate with their vision and mission of the CSR.
I'm also going to add. I'll just add one point, considering this is VolCon Plus. See, beauty of volunteering is that we can actually curate programs which are volunteer-led for the development of the challenge that you want to work on. And various organizations have been doing for a number of years now. And I will take a pause because I know that Sam has also... Yeah, sure.
Thank you for that question, Nirmala. But on a personal note, I can invite you to our organization, present about what volunteering, what you were talking about, flourishing and volunteering. We can definitely put you through our employees, and that can be a good start. Yeah.
Hi. So just this perspective is probably representing the NGOs, and just an add-on to what Nirmala was saying. See, there is a category of organizations which are very large, right? Like your 10,000 plus, or huge workforce, where I believe corporates have a degree of autonomy in terms of, or they give that autonomy to teams to decide who they want to engage with, especially in the NGO space. Is that right? To some degree? In your organizations, do you have that? This may not be CSR funds, but it more to do with the...
No, I agree to that. I mean, as I said, when we are asking our volunteer champions to go and work with schools, right? We are not dictating that, that this is the organization you can work. What we are definitely checking is that whether the organization is credible, right? That's the first thing we are checking. That, so...
Yeah, my question is more like, see, I think for somebody who's been on both sides, it really helps this sector, from the NGO sector per se, to know what are those kind of opportunities where there is not too many layers of decision making, but something like a quick win where people also, there's an opportunity to engage, and there is an opportunity to even get to know each other. Is there a fit? Not everybody can work with each other. So if you were to give a ratio that within your organizations that maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 30%, but there is some level or some degree of autonomy that teams have, maybe a division has, in terms of choosing what kind of projects, what kind of NGO partnerships would they welcome, just from a volunteering point of view, that may be helpful for this group.
So Sam, I think it varies from organization to organization. I would say that depending on what the size, scale, spread, what are the thematic areas. But I think answering to your questions, it would be a robust one or it could be a quick one, depending on what the organization defines it. Coming to the autonomy of the teams, I think again it's subjective to the organization. It's like there could be some areas where the team would have the autonomy to kind of take things forward. But if it is at a wider scale, I'm presuming that there would be a set of processes that would require to be followed. In the space of the NGO sector per se, there's a lot of due diligence that happens. There is a lot of risk management that needs to be kind of assessed, because a reputation is something that needs to be kind of managed down. And that's why credibility is something that is checked time and again. So at times you may have a detailed process, at times it may be a quick win. So would vary depending on the kind of engagement. Not sure if I was able to answer that.
Okay. See, we are going to be around. You're welcome to come and ask any questions. I'm very sorry, but she was showing me the, अभी वो blank हो जाने वाला था, तो मैंने सोचा we should just take a pause here. Thank you so much, Kriti, Abhishek, Sahista, and Santosh. It was a lovely conversation. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope everyone did have some takeaways from this. I am going to give you all a token of my appreciation and our appreciation now.